Alright, trying out something new here. I'm going to do a little thrift store haul video. So I'm looking for new cameras to create new content about. Rather than going on eBay all the time, I sometimes just go to Goodwill or wherever and see what they got. Because, you know, it's kind of nice to find something that surprises you. This isn't like a scripted video or anything like my usual kind of stuff. This is more me just showing you what I found. And yeah, so I'm just trying new different things, seeing what sticks, seeing what works, seeing what people enjoy. And I find that a lot of people tend to enjoy videos where people show off their finds. And you know, it's kind of surprising what kinds of things you can find just out looking around. So I spent all day yesterday at my local big city going to all the different Goodwills specifically and seeing what I could find. And I specifically targeted Goodwill because there's way more price variance. Now a lot of places in my local area, they jack up prices, especially on this kind of stuff. I don't know why, because if I return there a month from now, it'll still be there. I mean, it doesn't sell when they do that, but a lot of Goodwills management is smart and they think, okay, if I price this at $5, somebody will pretty much buy it immediately. And that's what I do. I just buy it immediately if it's $5, if it's worth it, which is how much a lot of this stuff was. A lot of this stuff was, I don't pay more than $10 for any of these. And I don't recommend that somebody goes to a Goodwill, finds compact camera for 25 bucks, and takes it, because that just encourages them to keep doing that. And then they're kind of pricing it out of the they're kind of pricing it away from where a lot of people can spend on something like this. Okay, so let's cut to it and see what I found. First off, I found this. This is a Hewlett-Packard C200. This is a 90s digital camera, 1 megapixel. It's got a nice little protector here for the lens. It's a prime lens, 6mm f2.8. Pretty nice, good shape. It works. It has a compact flash card in there. That was left over from the previous owner. It's a 256 megabyte SanDisk. And it had a lot of photos on there. A lot of quinceañera photos. So it was one of those digital cameras that, you know, a family bought and they used it like 2 or 3 times for 1 or 2 or 3 like at-home parties, and they shoved it in a drawer. And those photos are dated from 2005. So this hasn't been used in a while. This is an HP refurbished one, which explains, I think, in part why this camera came out in 1999. Those photos were from 2005. So that says something there. And yeah, so that's definitely one that I'm going to look at. I really like the old HP design language and the old like 90s style logos. It's got the old Hewlett-Packard thing. And the box it looks like one of the boxes that one of my grandmother's printers came in. It has that, I'll put it up on the screen for a second. But yeah, so this was a really good find. Cost me $4.50, so that's cool. Stick that up here. Next up, this guy here. So this is a Nikon Coolpix 995 3.3 megapixel, I think, camera. This was their sort of high end in 2001. This is when Nikon was trying to win over film shooters, basically. So they put everything into this. And this is back when I think Nikon was trying to be cool, because they put in a lot of features and they did something really different with their camera. They made it so you could twist it around, which was pretty awesome. This is the front, this is the back, this is what you'd be looking at. So you twist it around like that, you could pop up the flash right here. There's a viewfinder right there, which most early digital cameras had, some kind of optical viewfinder. And it was always, you know, it's kind of off from the lens, so you kind of had to, there's a guide in there, and most of them weren't tremendously accurate. Being that this is a higher end camera, you get your manual mode and your wheel. It shoots a probably TIFF file format. I don't know, I'll have to look further more into it to see if there's a more like a NEF file format. It uses a rechargeable lithium-ion battery. This is not the original battery, thankfully, because that original battery is now 20 years old. But this is probably not too much younger. So I'm going to find a charger for it and another battery, because this one's probably not very good. If it does hold a charge, it's probably not for very long. I do like the old Nikon, or Nikon I should say, design language. I like the purple stripe, I think that's cool. The power thing is in the front, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, the little lens is threaded, so you could put an ND filter or a polarizer or whatever you want in there. They were smart enough to write the price on the screen, and I say that because this is a glass screen, so it's very easy to clean off. So kudos to Goodwill. CF card, and so that's, you know, not a weird format. That's going to be pretty easy to find. So yeah, that's a good find. Good one. I'll definitely be doing a video on that in the near future. Okay, next one is something that's not quite as interesting. This is an HP PhotoSmart 735, and I'm pretty sure we had one of these in the household back when I was little. This is from around 2000, I'm guessing around 2002, 2003, somewhere in there. If you look at the front, it says, if it wants to focus, Pentax zoom lens. So I'm thinking that this is a rebranded Pentax Optio in a very different casing. A lot of the casing, it feels like plastic, sounds like plastic. Pretty sure it is plastic. It has an optical viewfinder here, little screen on the back, which is typical, but the cool part is that there is a screen on top to give you your information up here rather than on the back. This kind of thing actually saves battery because this screen can be turned off, and then you have all your info on the top, which this sucks down way less battery than this. It has a what appears to be a camcorder button. Now I tested this for like 5 seconds to make sure it works, and it does. Takes AA batteries, which is very good for me because, as you can probably guess, I have a lot of batteries and a lot of chargers that are all different, and it's kind of annoying, but it's kind of just a side effect of doing what I do. And yeah, it's overall pretty cool. It's definitely something that I only buy something if I'm going to make a detailed review on it. And this is worthy of a detailed review just because this is the kind of thing that a lot of people in my age group, the late 20s, early 30s, this is the kind of thing that our parents and grandparents had when we were growing up that we might have played with. So I'm going to put it over here. Next up is an Olympus Camedia C700 Ultra Zoom. This is kind of neat because this is a 2.1 megapixel. This is what Olympus, another kind of like the Nikon where it was what they wanted to be an SLR replacement. Now notice I didn't say DSLR, I said SLR. This is what they're targeting, like film shooters who had SLRs. This is to give them something that was easier and more economical to use, because a digital camera was always going to be more economical than a film camera. Obvious reasons. Now, and this had really cool extra features, like that's for your flash. So this little guy right here, you unscrew it and you can plug in your studio strobes into this little socket right here, which is cool. Good thing to see. I love seeing that because this opens up a lot more opportunities, and when you're using a studio strobe, even with a small sensor like this, you can get some great images out of it, as you're going to see in a couple days when I post another video that I'm finishing up. But yeah, I tested it out because it takes AA's and, you know, a ubiquitous battery that that everybody has a ton of laying around, and, you know, a little pop-up flash, zoom rocker, P, ASM. It's got a movie mode that's probably not useful anymore just because the resolution's so low. Yeah, so big zoom. They always talked a lot about digital super zoom back then, when super zoom's not really all that useful. I really like this strap because it's the wrist strap style like this, but it's more robust. So I'll definitely be using that. in my day-to-day life. Oh, one last thing to talk about. This does not have an optical viewfinder. This actually has a huge EVF. It's very low resolution, but it's big and it's easy to see. So this is definitely something that's going to be looked at more thoroughly. It uses a smart media card, which I need to find. Smart media cards, they're not very big. They're pretty expensive, but I can find one laying around somewhere. I don't have one right now, but I'll order one, or keep looking at thrift stores until I find a camera that has one in it. Next thing that I found was this. This is an HP PhotoSmart M627, and this guy's broken, unfortunately. Takes AA's. It turns on, but the lens stack is damaged and it doesn't come out. So that sucks. Even though it's in pretty beat up shape, it was $150. So I took the chance, and it's dead. I mean, I might take it apart and maybe see. It just feels like something snapped in there. So I might take it apart. Maybe I'll make a video taking it apart. I don't know. I had hopes for it because it's a 7-megapixel camera, so it's a little more recent, and it's more toward the end of HP's PhotoSmart lineup, because they didn't make digital cameras forever. But yeah, so that's there. Next up, I'm going to go to the 3 that I found that are still in the box. This doesn't mean that they were new. This is just that the owners, well, one of them's new, but the owners were cool enough to keep the box in the closet and then put it back in the box with the accessories and the paperwork and the discs, and especially the chargers in one case, that it came with them, even though they're from the Goodwill. So the first one is a Pentax Optio 330, which had the box. Now this camera is used a lot. It's got a big scuff in the front. It's got a lot of dust, like in the elements. In the lens, it's got a lot of dust underneath this glass, which I'm going to have to pull this glass up, put a heat gun on it, take it up, clean it out, and put it back on. That's going to be a process. There's a lot of dirt down here in the viewfinder, because he's had live view, but the viewfinder was kind of the primary way of using these back in the day. This does have a battery. It's the original battery, and it is functional, which is fine. And the battery in my Canon S100 is dying because, as I said in my review, the battery life for video on this camera sucks. So let me go change that battery out real quick. Alright, new battery. Another 12.5 minutes or so of recording. So yeah, the Pentax Optio, as I said, pretty dirty. And yeah, not much else to say about it. I mean, the battery that it comes with does hold a charge for a couple minutes. So that's going to need a new one, but luckily the charger was in the box, which is great. And the box is pretty nice. The original owners registered the camera, so they cut the barcodes off the box so they could send it to Pentax, get their warranty, whatever. And yeah, that's about it for that one. Yeah, 3.34 megapixels. Try to squeeze every one they could out of that for marketing purposes. Now the next one that was in the box is much newer. It is a Coolpix L22. This is when Nikon wasn't so cool anymore, and they made pretty boring cameras. But 12.2 megapixels. I think it might be CMOS. Oops, wrong one. Okay, yeah, there might be CMOS. Probably not. Big screen on the back. Cheap plastic. But yeah. So, instead of doing the interesting, cool stuff that they used to do with the twisty and all that kind of stuff, these are just their more normal budget, budgety cameras. But despite being normal, budgety, and pretty much fully automatic, it has a lot of neat features and stuff. The image quality I have pretty decent hopes for, because yeah, it is normal, budgety, and it's not quite. It doesn't quite have the fit and finish of the Canon. The Canons in the same group, but it's not bad. And this one was used a little bit by on the SD card, what appears to be some teenager. and it looks like it's been in a pocket for a little bit because there's plenty of scuffs on it, but you know what, it still works great, and this will definitely get its own time to shine for, you know, 15 or so minutes as I pick it apart, everything that's good and bad about it eventually. This did not have a charger because it uses AA's, which is actually, as I said, very convenient for me. So let's throw this over here on the side here, and so far I got one more from this haul, and this is one that I don't have high hopes for. This is a Polaroid camera. Now, these were sold at places where you wouldn't usually buy a camera, like Kohl's for $300. I'm gonna spend $300 on a camera. Please just buy a mirrorless camera used with a Sigma 30mm lens, like a Nex 5 or Nex 7, and you will have a much better experience. This camera, I already know, has some weird issues behind it. One of them being build quality, and other of them being really weird nitnoid things that I don't like about it. That, yeah, it's brand new. Oh, it's still got the stuff on the back. Let's, yeah, that was less satisfying than they make it out to be. Big screen, it works fine. I mean, obviously this thing's the only fingerprints that have ever been on this are from me, and it has like this soft, oh, sorry, let me back that up a little bit, it's just a little too close. It's got like this soft satin finish that I don't really care for, because I feel like as soon as I rub one of my fingernails over it, it's just going to get marred and ugly. 21x optical zoom. Now it says 84x on the box, but that's mostly digital zoom. 21x optical zoom, which is pretty impressive for a super budget camera like this. I don't know who manufactured this. I don't know who manufactured the glass. I don't know who manufactured the camera itself. All I know is made in China. SD card, of course, easy, and AA's, thankfully. Yeah, so I'll try it out. I'll give it a chance. Image quality can't be too bad because it's from 2012. It's got a manually pop-up flash, which is nice. These doesn't feel too bad. There's a button there. You know, pretty standard stuff. USB. Not quite proprietary, but harder to find USB cable. Thankfully, it was in the box because it came with the box. So yeah, that's a good find for $6.50 though, and pretty good haul for yesterday. But we're not done yet because I want to go through some that I found recently, and one not so recently. But let's see, the next review that I'm going to post up, I'm just going to spoil the surprise here, and I'm not going to show very much of it because I already have some more detail, is of this Kodak P880, which is a super capable bridge camera. This was designed specifically for people who are between getting a bridge camera and getting an entry-level DSLR. And yeah, it's not going to be entry-level DSLR performance, but it is very capable, and it's pretty freaking cool, and I'm going to show why. Okay, moving on from that, the next one I'm doing after that I just got done evaluating, that I was really surprised with, you know, what this camera was able to teach me, is the very basic Olympus FE370. Does not have a tremendous number of options. An 8 megapixel thin pocketable camera, metal body, not the highest quality metal body, but we'll get into all that stuff too. This is it came with a really nice strap. But yeah, pretty standard stuff. I've been walking around with this for the past like week or two, and I really like it, and I'll tell you why. Next up was this guy. Now this guy, as I said, back when Nikon was doing cool stuff, this is like the consumer-oriented alternative to that twisty Coolpix 995. And I'm not going to spoil that. I want to show that. You know what? It's going to be a little while till the future video, so I'll just show you that it is pretty cool. 2 megapixel camera, this market segment was huge back then, because this is like 2 megapixels was good for, you know, sending somebody an email or a message on MSN Instant Messenger. Uses a proprietary lithium battery, which I already have a charger and a replacement for. That's how interested I was in it. And it uses a compact flash card, which is very not proprietary and very nice to see. Next up, the next one I'm going to show is it was a direct competitor to the Coolpix 995, which is the Sony CyberShot DSC S85. And this thing was obviously marketed as a direct competitor to an SLR, and it was really to pull film users. And 4.1 megapixels, baller camera, in great shape. One of the cool things is it uses the same battery that my Alpha 65 that I do most of my videos uses, but the bad thing is it uses the old memory sticks, which don't hold much, so you get like 5 TIFF images on a decent sized memory stick, which I don't really care for. And then there's one other camera that I've had for a long time that I need to do a video on. I've had this thing for years. I've even sold it on eBay and got it returned because there was a little nick on it. And this is Nikon. This is a Sony WX220. This is a very modern point and shoot. Obviously, it produces pretty good video. That's what I used it for a while. And big screen. Chargeable battery, charges through USB, pretty convenient. I need to do a review on it because I've had it for so long, and I've like a love-hate relationship with it. So yeah, this is a lot of the stuff that I've found in thrift stores over time. Most of that recently. A couple things that I do want to ask if you're into this kind of stuff, and if you're into finding this kind of stuff. If you see a camera at a thrift store that you already have, and even if it's a good price, please leave it there for somebody else. I mean, don't buy it just for the sake of buying it. I mean, if yours is in bad shape and you see one that's in better shape, yeah, grab it. And please, like, cycle the one that's in slightly worse shape back into the Goodwill so somebody else can pick it up and enjoy it. There's just no point, because these things don't go for a lot on eBay. They're not particularly valuable by today's standards, because everybody has phones that for the most part do it better, or, you know, in a lot of ways, especially non-technical ways, these do better, but, you know, just give somebody else a chance to enjoy it, especially if it's like, if they're selling them for like $5 and you already have it, then let some little kid come by and ask their parents to get it for them. Maybe you not picking that up for the sake of picking it up because it's cheap jumpstarts some other kid's interests, you know, in photography, which would be awesome. Beyond, you know, beyond their phone. Maybe it's as much as, oh, it zooms. But, you know, maybe they start taking it with them everywhere and start taking pictures of everything. And then they grow up and advance to, their parents end up getting them a DSLR for Christmas. You know, that'd be cool. And, but yeah, that's all I really have to ask. And yeah, comment below on what kind of things you found, and show me what you got. I got a Discord now, so there's actually a specific section just for your finds on there. If you want to post a quick pic of it and say, hey, I found this, it was $5, and gloat about that, that's cool. We want to see that. I don't know, I think I've got 2 members on my Discord now, besides myself. So it's moving along, you know, we're building a little community of people who are interested in either cameras that not everybody knows about, or old cameras that people have kind of, time itself has kind of discarded as being obsolete. Very much not obsolete. Not obsolete, not obsolete, not obsolete. Well, it doesn't work. Pretty obsolete because of the memory that it uses. But still very usable, still very viable, especially if you want a little more creative control than what your phone gives you. And yeah, that's all I got to say. So, yeah, check out my channel. If you're like, if you've seen this video from like a YouTube search on like thrift store hauls or something, yeah, my channel is about these, and I look at these and I tell you what all their merits are in like 2021, and if they're worth picking up or not, which most of them so far have been, for one reason or another. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. Check out my channel if you haven't done so already. Give me a like, give me a comment if you're coming from somewhere totally different, or if this is like a new thing to you, or if you just discovered some kind of nostalgia that you didn't know about before, or you hadn't thought about. You know, you saw like one of your parents' cameras on here, that'd be cool. So yeah, just check it out. And I usually do like highly scripted videos, but this, you know, just kind of a thing. Since I figured, you know, that was actually the girlfriend's suggestion. She said, yeah, a lot of people like this kind of stuff. So yeah. And now I'm just rambling, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, of course. And goodbye.